So I had an idea to record a video talking about myself and how I started on Animal Jam, considering how new my channel is, and I wanted to do that, but I thought why not combine two ideas and also do a little dive into what life is like on Animal Jam in 2025, especially from the perspective of somebody who played mainly during the 2015s, 2016 sort of era. So I started Animal Jam when I was 11 or 12. It was 2014, so a few years after the game's first release date. The game was alive, with likely hundreds of thousands logging in every day, trading was huge, the worlds were full, it was thriving and would continue to do so for many years. I stopped playing around 2018 when shops were introduced, and came back periodically over the years, never for very long, but I really fully returned in the last few months. I don't really know why, but I just kind of had a calling. The game has had ups and downs in popularity, but I'd say it's now at a bit of a high again. A lot of adults have returned or are returning for the nostalgia of the game. So the game is now mainly adults or older teenagers, which has like a quite nice feel to it, I think, especially as somebody who's playing like as an older person. It's nicer to have like other old people who are experiencing the nostalgia with you, I think. Animal Jam has survived a lot longer than some of the other games from that era did, and I don't know what it is about Animal Jam that's so special, but it really was my favourite game. I played Bin Weevils, Mush Monsters, pretty much all of them, but Animal Jam was the only one that really gripped me, and it still continues to do so. I could never really get into Play Wild. I wasn't a fan of the graphics or the feel of the game. I mean, it just wasn't the same as Classic. From what I've heard from people that I know, it's a little bit of a microtransaction nightmare at the moment. Play Wild people confirm that, if you will, but that's what I've heard on the branch. Animal Jam Classic has kept fair membership prices all throughout, and I'd say membership is reasonably affordable. I mean, a 6-month membership cost me about £19, which if you have a little extra to spend, I feel like it's a really good price for all that you get in the game. You have the option of buying diamonds, but it's not really necessary, especially since the introduction of My Shops, which brings us into the next section. My Shops were released, like I said, in 2018. Users can sell their items for diamonds, to use for other items, or to use in the diamond shop, which for me is a positive because it used to be just simply relying on getting 3 diamonds on the daily spin. The bundles are 30 diamonds for the whole thing. You get 2 sets of clothing, a den and an animal, and a lot of the time the items form from the bundles, once they're out of stores, raise in worth, so it's definitely worth holding on to some of these items to see what you could get in the future as the demand rises. I've always had a bit of a funny relationship with My Shops, and I think it comes down to the fact that I'm an old player, reasonably old anyway. I know there's like older players, and I'm kind of not used to it. When I came back, the idea that you could like buy and sell spikes was just weird to me, and still sort of is. I probably would still prefer if AJ went back to being a trade-only system, but it's nothing more than a preference, I'd say, mostly born out of the fact that people don't trade as much anymore, and I am a big trading over selling person, but I have also used My Shops and will continue to use them for the benefits of having them. I can sell the items that I don't want and find some items to add to a collection or something I might want. Sometimes users will sell something for below the diamond worth and you can trade it for an item worth more diamonds and make a little bit of profit, so that's definitely nice. I mainly like it for the den items. I'm not really a den items person, never really have been. I only just started decorating dens more, so it's good to have a place to go just to buy cute things for my den when things are out of regular shop rotation. If you're an older player, chances are when you came back, some of the items you bought in stores years and years ago are now worth a lot. I had this happen when I was researching the worth of all of my items when I first came back, and I was absolutely shocked. I bought all of the heart rings back in Epic Wonders when they were there, and they're now worth decent shorts, and I think the rarest is worth a black short. This was decreased from a bad long, but the demand isn't very high for them, so I can kind of understand why that happened. But I also find it strange because I actually think they're really super cute, and I think if you could find a collector, you would probably get the worth for it. But this will give you a much appreciated boost in the economy, and you may now be able to get your hands on items you wanted when you were younger, which is a major plus for nostalgia, I think. The excitement of getting all of the things you've wanted, I think, heals something in your inner child, I think. Like, all I wanted when I was 12 was long spikes, and now I have them all. Except pink. But let's talk about that. The economy is strange. That sentence sums up this section, I think. The economy fluctuates and always has as things in the game change, demand goes up, etc., but some of the things that are affected more than others. The basic example of this at the moment is the pink long, which as it stands is worth 1.5 to 2 black longs, which is insane. Why? I tried trading a good and bad long for one in bradys and got scolded by a penguin for being behind the times. This was at like the beginning of the boom, and that was only about a week or so ago. Probably not a week or so ago, it's probably a couple of weeks actually. I mean, it went up from a decent to the best long in like less than 2 weeks. I could be wrong about that, but to me that's like how there was like a massive jump. It may have been like gradually rising, but there was a big jump between like a couple of weeks of time period, I'd say. Some people said it was because of hoarding, and I can totally believe it, but I also wonder how helpful it is to keep feeding into it, because the only people who have really won here is the hoarders, who are now getting 4 times its original worth for just hoarding the item. I've seen others do this, and I'm doing it too, or I'm just not going to trade for one ever until this calms down. I think it's the only sensible thing to do at this stage, because again, like, the only person this is benefiting is the people hoarding, so I wouldn't really give into it, because eventually they're going to trade their hoard away and profit from the nonsense. It's like basically artificially inflated. I mean, this goes for other items as well, and I can imagine that it will happen more and more after the pink long situation, just so people can see how much they can profit from it. I mean, profit isn't a bad thing inherently, and worth does go up, but hoarding to basically manually control the worth is just like, I'm not playing. I mean, it's weird now because spiked collars are no longer available in the Forgotten Desert due to hackers. Thanks, guys. Clothing betas are now basically worth nothing, so one of the older trading currencies is now redundant. Things have just gotten harder, which is why people complain about the economy, I think, so much. I mean, the main trading currency is spikes and dem betas, and while dem betas are obtainable still through the Forgotten Desert, the worth of spikes has gone up, so it takes a while to collect enough that way to trade for collars, and it doesn't really seem to be getting any better. It's definitely possible to do. I mean, I've done it. Having old items definitely helps, playing the Forgotten Desert helps, but I can see how new players or people starting on new accounts after the breach may find themselves a bit stuck for a while. I personally don't think my shops have helped this either, to be honest. When the top people are buying things with diamonds because they've already got circulation of worth going on, it's going to be a lot easier for them than it is for people with less, because it's harder to get onto the ladder. Those people who would also be relying more on trading, especially non-members, benefit like less from this, and there's less trading now, so yeah, it's a combination of things, I think. I hope that makes sense. It's just an observation. I'm not blaming my shops entirely. It's a lot of different factors, and others may have a different perspective. You can get onto the ladder 100%. It may just be harder, like as it stands at the moment. One thing we can all do is give a helping hand to those who may be starting fresh when you see them around. It's a personal choice, but I know it makes me feel good, and it will make that person feel good as well. If you guys want a deeper dive into the AJ worth, because I'm not a worth expert and there are people who genuinely have done more research on this than me. I mean, I've been back for a few months, I'm just a casual observer. I really recommend watching Brad Stormer's recent video on spiked collars. I will link it in the description. It was excellent. He has charts and stats. It was just a very good video. Another thing that happened recently which made me what the super hard was the release of the Fancy Lays into Epic Wonders. Fancy Lays were always popular, and as I can understand it, they seem to be mentioned a lot and people really liked them. They came back to stores for about 3 days and then got removed, and from what I've seen it was a mistake that they even got released in the first place, because AJHQ have like 2 employees at this point. I could be wrong about that, but literally within 3 hours the worth skyrocketed, and by the end of the 24-hour period people were trading spiked risks for them, for an item that was wildly popular, for an item that people probably had a lot of, that got removed from stores that day. I mean, the whole thing was so ridiculous to watch, and it still kind of is. There was absolutely no reason that needed to happen, and I'm not really sure why it did. People who have them have trade lists full. I see them everywhere. It's not like they're rare. I honestly don't know. I don't have an answer on that one. It would have made a lot more sense for a limited edition version like the Rare Item Monday to have got popular, because it was a one-time thing. I mean, the lays will probably come back into stores eventually and lose all their worth, but it just goes to show how weird the economy can be at times. One thing you will encounter when you return to Animal Jam is the constant servers being down. Like 5 times out of 10 during the day you try to log in and it's just like, no. I've had this exact issue, like literally while planning this video I couldn't log in. It's usually short-lived but annoying regardless. The game has a lot of problems that need fixing, but I'd say that the game's positives outweigh the negatives hugely. Even in 2025, you'll definitely have a lot of fun if you come back, and people definitely should. There's been a rise in popularity again, and it comes in waves, but the game is usually pretty full of players. I would say that the worlds are usually pretty full, especially the main worlds. I mean, obviously there's unoccupied worlds, but it's kind of always been that way. They have a lot of different servers. Animal Jam just sort of has something that a lot of games don't, and I don't know why, but I find myself kind of returning time and time again, even if I do take breaks. I think it's just partly it's nostalgia, but I don't know. There's something that keeps me playing. I mean, Minecraft has nostalgia, but I can play for like 2 weeks, get burnt out and then stop. But Animal Jam for me has been a little bit more long-lived. And as somebody with ADHD who tends to pick something up and drop it like a lemon, for something to hold my interest, there's something really quite special about it to me personally. I mean, another thing that I didn't plan to put in this video, but I'm thinking of as I'm sitting here talking. This game has a lot of bots now, like it gets botted a lot. You'll be walking around Jamar and then like this massive wolf will just appear. It will be like flashing different colours. It's honestly quite funny, but inappropriate behaviour is on the rise, which, shock horror. Some people are like, it doesn't matter because this game is full of adults, but I think at the end of the day it's like, yeah, it is packed with adults, but you also need to beware that like children are going to play this game and you do need to be mindful. You can't just be doing, you should just be mindful, and people, especially adults who are doing it, I mean a lot of the people are probably kids themselves thinking that they're being really funny, but if you're an adult doing it, like just be mindful of like the children around you. You're on a space where it was like made for kids, like kids will play this game. They're gonna be kids, so just act appropriately. You don't need to be doing all that. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up my thoughts. I had an Animal Jam YouTube when I was younger. Obviously, I don't have the content, and thank God for that. Nobody needs to see that shit. I just thought I kind of wanted to start something new and maybe like... Oh my goodness me, my phone... What is it with the Apple alarms? Like, but I've kind of always wanted to start like my own YouTube and have like a little project kind of like going on the side, just something to kind of occupy my time with. I'll leave some links in the comments to stuff that you should kind of watch for the economy. Obviously the Brad's normal video is a really good one, and I will see you guys later.